To you on the Unassimilated app. We need boots on the ground. We can't wait for Facebook.
Let's roll. You my battle in the stress. You will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone. You my battle in the stress. You will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone.
Sometimes we feel weak, most days we feel wrong. Thinking in the moment where we always feel strong. Said we need to carry on and let it all go. Leaving in the past, better yet leave it alone. Trying to make excuses, but we feeling so lost. Gave our life for the price, our mind pay the cost. Too many days we can hear those small arms ringing. Many nights we can still hear those missiles singing.
Nightmares full raging and my brain's a storm. It's quite clear that I've changed, I'm not the same no more. I never say the normal stuff and I'm never proper. I never stay very long, socially I'm awkward. I like to be alone, anger's what I'm feeding on. Sorta like a bully looking for kids to beat upon. Until I see one of my brothers and he needs fixing. If you got my 6, I'ma have your 360.
You a battle in the stress, you will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone. You my battle in the stress. You will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone.
Fall into the emptiness of the bottle. Living life to the fullest, full throttle. Lost with no purpose, dying on the inside. But I'm cool on the surface. With paranoia and looking for the serpents. One of the many, many phobias that be lurking. Who to call, who to reach to. Death flashing like a flash call, so I dial so you hard.
I drop everything, I got you, it's nothing. It's like the U.S. Postal Service, yeah, battle, I'm coming. You got my word, it can't be broken, no flake, no frontin'. We right here to elevate and connect like buttons. I'll carry you through the fires of hell. Flesh burned through the bone. Down and out, stressed out, head spinning like a cyclone. We carry you home, we take care of our own. You will never walk alone, yeah, no matter the time zone. You a battle in the stress, you will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone. You my battle in the stress. You will never walk alone. I'll carry you through the flames of hell. My flesh burned through the bone. Through the places where the demons dwell. You're my battle now and always. You will never walk alone.
Thank you for being there, brother. You got my 6, I got your 6. For life.
Dude, that shit totally makes me messed up, man. Makes me cry a little bit. Yeah, that's some heavy stuff. Anyway, like I was saying, if anybody's out there struggling, you know, I'm usually shits and giggles and nothing too seriously, but I'm serious about that. That shit is serious. If you struggle, we're there. Any one of us are willing to talk to you. Find Battle in Distress on Facebook. Join that group. There's trained people that are there ready to talk to you. Yeah. And, like I said, do a little prepping. Makes me feel better. Let's go with part 4. I want to know what happens when you come out of your shelter. If the Morlocks took over, if we live in like a cannibalistic society after the nuclear war.
Hi, Liberty's Teeth here, and welcome back to the Tin Hat Ranch channel. Welcome to part 4 of the Surviving a Nuclear Bomb series, Emerging from Your Shelter. So far in the series, we've taken you step by step through a nuclear event from the initial explosion to improvised sheltering. We've shown you things that you can do with little preparation and a small amount of knowledge to increase your probabilities of surviving a nuclear bomb. The further we move down a timeline from the event, the more and more choices are available that will affect the outcome. This is the final installment of the series geared towards those that want to be prepared almost solely through knowledge. We will give you tips that will further increase your chances of survival when emerging from your shelter. Your life has now changed. You are now living in a post-nuclear age. I can only really focus this video on a few possible scenarios: the single event and a very limited exchange. Here's the reason. Up to a limited exchange, there would probably be continuity of government. In a very large exchange, you will have an EMFT and WROL situation. Every man for themselves and without rule of law. With continuity of government, you can have coordinated evacuation and relief efforts. Without it, we are playing...
He's fucking talking about anarchy, man! Anarchy! Been waiting my entire life for that shit. I am totally ready to live in the post-apocalyptic world. I may have to get a mohawk. I may have to start dyeing my hair and give up my very professional-looking appearance. But I'm ready for this. Compound Commander, that will no longer be a good handle for me. I'm going to have to get a cool one like, I don't know, Snake Eater, Iron Ankle, something post-apocalyptic.
Playing by a whole different set of rules that will involve many other survival skills that I will cover in other videos, but the subject is far too vast to cover in one video. So we will focus on the single event or limited exchange with continuity of government. When faced with dealing with the mess caused by a surface burst nuclear weapon, the costs involved would be so great I feel the decision to create an exclusion zone around the blast and fallout areas would be the decision the government would make. If you are dealing with large amounts of fallout, you will probably be in one of these future exclusion zones. You will probably be forced, and maybe with good reason, to abandon your home and to relocate. At some point, your government will begin to enter this zone to deal with survivors, dispose of bodies, and survey the damage. Remember, if you have successfully dealt with lethal doses of radiation and your neighbors didn't prepare, they will probably be dead or very ill at this point. There's not much you can do for the living and very ill. They will either die or recover. That is the nature of acute radiation poisoning. They are not contagious whatsoever. In your case, one of two things is going to eventually happen. First, at some point, you're going to run out of food or water and be forced to leave to search for supplies. Second, you may receive a visit from a government official as they go door to door to tally the dead and search for survivors. They may force evacuation at this point if they find you. I don't know which is going to come first. It depends on far too many factors. In either scenario, you're going to be dealing with the same environmental factors and will have to deal with them. If you are a couple weeks out from the event, you may start to disassemble your improvised shelter, but you are going to have to continue spending the majority of your time in your basement or in the center room of your home. You may still want to keep the stuff around you. I just realized that an expedient shelter is probably not a comfortable one. There will still be a low level of gamma radiation.
Really? Really? You just realized that? You've been quoting to me. You've obviously taken the time to do the research, know all the math on how long from blast and all that shit, and all about your RIM stuff. Very obsessed with the RIM stuff. And you just realized that living underneath your couch with a makeshift table thrown on top, covered in phone books, is going to be uncomfortable. All right, I got you. You lost me a little bit there, though.
You'll have to deal with, and you'll still be accumulating exposure. You still want to eliminate this. What you also want to do, though, is create a clean environment. I've mentioned plastic sheeting before. It is something I recommend that everyone store in their homes. You can purchase sheeting like this from your local hardware store pretty inexpensively. The same goes for duct tape. Have enough to make a comfortably sized, clean room. Hang it from the ceiling and tape it to the floor. Keep everything you need to survive inside of this room. Also have enough on hand to do the same around an exterior door that is furthest away from your shelter. If you have enough on hand, cover every window and door and tape them, and every opening to your home. What you're trying to do is put as many barriers between you and the fallout particles as possible. This should be done as soon as possible after the event, but if you do not have any means of measuring the radiation levels, you must wait about 7 days. And when you do this, do it as quickly as possible. Don't worry about making the clean room by the door until just before you have to leave the shelter. There should only be a few reasons for leaving your shelter. The only reasons are to gather necessary supplies or evacuate. Evacuate means leaving in a safe manner to another location where you will not be exposed to.
Monk, I think what he's telling us there is that we definitely need to have enough beer on hand that we don't have to make any booze stops after the blast. This is important because you know I'm going to want to leave. Can't run out of Miller Lite.
Fallout, or leaving because you are facing an immediate life-threatening situation, such as fire or attack. Leaving to get supplies should follow the rules of threes. You cannot live for more than 3 days without water or 3 weeks without food. Leaving your shelter will begin exposing you to the actual fallout particles. Your primary focus from here on out will be to avoid ingesting or inhaling fallout particles that are emitting alpha or beta radiation. While the more time elapses from the event, the lower the danger. For weeks and even months after the event, you're going to have to deal with this fallout. Chances are that the first thing you might have to find is water. In the first video, I told you to get a half a gallon per day of water per person for 10 days. Maybe you were able to do so, maybe you weren't. But there is an ace in the hole in just about everybody's house. The hot water heater. You may have 30, 40, 50 or more gallons of safe water. If you have a well, your pressure tank may have even more water. Use this water first. Food would be next. Everything in a sealed container inside of your house that normally wouldn't have spoiled is safe to eat. When your supplies are about to be exhausted of either food or water, it might be time to venture out and take a quick lay of the land around you. Time to check to see if the neighbors are home and alive, or dying, or dead. Remember, they have a water heater as well, and if they're dead, well...
Woohoo! The neighbors are dead. We're going to steal their shit, man.
They may also have a pantry full of canned goods. You're going to have to follow some best practices when going outside. The first thing to do is pick clothing that you will wear outside. This clothing is never going to re-enter the main portion of your shelter once it is outside again. I think the best improvised gear to wear outside would be a rubber or vinyl rain suit if you have one, followed by some sort of synthetic fiber
I bet this
that
guy
has a
likes wearing
DWR
rubber
coating.
suits.
You want to be
bet
covered
he
pretty
does.
much from head to toe. Hood, scarf, long sleeves, gloves, pants, boots. The reason why you need to cover your entire body is you don't want fallout particles that will get on your skin or in your hair. Not that they are horribly dangerous on your body. You don't want to bring them into your relatively clean environment where they may be later ingested or inhaled. Most important when leaving your shelter is some sort of face mask. I recommend at least an N95 respirator. In fact, I recommend storing a case or two for this type of event. If you don't have one of these, then a cotton mask like this one is your next bet. If you don't have one of these, then use a scarf or t-shirt or something that you can tie around your head and put a barrier between you and the particles.
It seems like I got a great idea, Monkey. It seems like everybody's got something to sell, and you know, tinfoil vets should have some sort of product. What do you think about we put together the nuclear biological attack suit? It could have our little logo on it and everything, or you know, from last night's show, little tiny flaccid penises, the Greek ones. Were you listening to that show last night? Well, I'm just saying. Okay. Chad, he said no, but get with me. We need to work on something. I need to get something printed. Just saying. Even if you are a communist.
Particles in your lungs. Also wear goggles if you have them. Your eyes are particularly susceptible to radiation. A hot fallout particle in your eye might lead to cataracts down the road. If you don't have goggles, then glasses or sunglasses would be the next best bet. Carry a plastic garbage bag inside of your clothing if you are going to be bringing back supplies. Before you leave, wherever it is that you're getting the supplies from, put the items in the plastic bag. This will avoid contaminating said supplies. Lastly, it is probably best to bring a sidearm with you for obvious reasons. When you do leave your shelter, try and stick to the sidewalks or roads. Don't walk through the grass or vegetation if you can help it. This is because rubbing against a tree or a bush will deposit fallout on your clothes. The sidewalks or paved areas are best because you limit your exposure to the bottoms of your feet. Spend as little time as possible to complete your task. Get back inside as soon as you can. Once inside, very carefully start removing the clothing, trying only to touch the insides of the garments. If you can, hang them up gingerly. Take everything off. Remove the supplies last.
He says gingerly. I think that was a plug at Minnie. I'm never having this YouTube guest on again.
From the plastic bag and place them outside your improvised clean room. Then re-enter the main part of your house with nothing on. You can look at this two ways. You can either never wear those clothes again, and each time you go outside you wear something new, which is fine if you can do that, or you can look at it from a probabilities perspective. You're reducing the exposure you would have gotten without taking any precautionary measures. Hopefully you don't have to leave too many times before either help arrives or you decide it is time to move on. Moving on, again, involves far too many factors to cover everything. How will you be leaving? Is the National Guard here to transport you? Are you completely on your own? Does your car still work, but you didn't decide to bug out initially? Do you have to walk out? In any of these scenarios, there are a couple of things that you're going to want to keep in mind. First, cover yourself in the fashion